What about the New England Patriots? Another team that's kind of trapped in this world of good quarterback, not great.
I know it's tough because I actually like their offseason. I think both components of their offseason for free agency didn't, went kind of more back to the Patriots of old where they weren't aggressive spenders. But I think, replacing Jacoby Myers with Juju Smith-Schuster for a bit of a cheaper contract, I think most of that tied to injuries. But I do think Juju is kind of on par, a similarly talented player, a willing blocker, a guy that I think will fit in this offense. The super interesting one, Mike Gesicki, obviously cannot block and doesn't even really want to block. But if any coach can find a way to use him, as kind of a move tight end and do different things with him, they obviously trade away Jonnu Smith, and I think kind of bring in, not really the same player. He's not really going to be used like an H-back, but I guess maybe he could. Anyway, their draft I liked a lot. I know it's a draft that some people didn't love. I've on record infatuated with Christian Gonzalez. I think he is a massive addition for the secondary now. I like bringing back Jonathan Jones in free agency. It was a bit rich what they gave him, especially when you look at the free agent market. But now that he's not going to be relied upon as much, maybe even goes back into the slot a little bit because Gonzalez becomes your number one outside dog corner. Keon White, just like you mentioned earlier with Hendon Hooker, I was like, why is anyone talking about him in the first round? That makes no sense to me, but I don't mind him at 46th overall much at all. I think his inside-outside flex, they needed more for interior pass rush beyond Christian Barmore, who was hurt most of last year, but I think White's an intriguing player. I think it's, again, their offensive line, a bunch of additions, bunch of players that I'm sure will become above average guards, whatever. But their floor, I think, again, is going to be high. Their defense, I think, will dominate bad quarterbacks, struggle a little bit against good quarterbacks. And the offense is going to be a middle-tier offense. It's just tough. Like, my guy, Billy B, I want him to have one more run. I just don't see, that happening anytime soon.
You're right. Their free agency, it's a lot. It's exactly like classic Patriots free agencies of old, and it's just the narrative changes, right? It's the reverse of what we were talking about with the Jags, which is the Patriots are no longer kind of perennial contenders, so we don't look at these moves as, oh, look at that classic Patriots move. Like, how do we keep letting them do this? They bring in like Calvin Anderson, Riley Reif. These are guys that could absolutely contribute on that offensive line. Juju Smith-Schuster is a solid addition. James Robinson has big talent in the backfield for a guy that's been injured a lot. Trace McSorley at quarterback is a bizarre one. I would love somebody to sit down one day and just tease out what Bill Belichick actually covers when it comes to the quarterback position, because there never seems to be any rhyme or reason to the players that he selects or brings in at that position. There's no thread that links them all together. It appears to just be random players and random skill sets. But then you get the draft, and Christian Gonzalez I was lower on than a lot of people, but him landing in New England is the perfect spot for him to go. Like, that's just for any coach to get the potential that's there in terms of his athleticism and his movement skills. Belichick is that guy. Same kind of story for Keon White. So their first two picks, I think, are phenomenal additions for a defensive-minded coach. And then the rest of the draft was classic Patriot stuff. It's like, we have a couple of positions to hit. Let's just hammer a few spots and hope something sticks. So, another offseason that just feels solid. Like, we gave it a B+ overall, B- for free agency, A- for the draft. It's a good free agent, or a good offseason for them.
Yeah, no, just like you said, it painted in a different light. We love it, but we just know that there's just not, Tom Brady and Mac Jones, not the same guy.
Right.